The Rock Whisperer. Do you hear the earth talking to you?
Factors that influence climate, Unit 6-2. So we've read a little bit in our textbook and I've done a worksheet or two already in class on this. So I'm going to talk about some of the different factors that are going to influence the climate where you may live. One of the first ones is latitude, depending on where you live on the earth. We should already know, and we've done it earlier this year, and this goes back again to middle school science, that the equator is at 0 degrees and the North Pole is at 90 degrees latitude. So the higher your latitude is, the smaller the angle, the incoming angle of insolation is. Again, insolation is incoming solar radiation. And when that angle is lower, as you can see by these two areas right here, the small area and large area, that the amount of sunlight is less concentrated the higher your latitude is. When we go to talk about altitude, we're talking about our elevation above sea level. So we can have a couple of different things that happen. As we're increasing in altitude, the temperature that we have is going to decrease. So if you look at this series of diagrams, I know they don't quite match a particular area for altitude, but you can get the general idea, is especially if we were at a lower latitude closer to the equator and we were going up a high mountain range. Close to the sea level, you're going to have a very tropical area. As you continue up, you'll have less trees and it'll be cooler. And then as you get up higher, you can have snow in the higher altitudes. Your location to a large body of water. Water has a moderating effect on your climate. So the closer you are to a large body of water, the narrower the range of temperatures are going to be throughout the day. That comes out in one of the worksheets that we will be doing. The Great Lakes are also large bodies of water and can moderate the temperature. So if you're in Buffalo or in the Oswego area, those large lakes are going to help to keep your yearly temperature in that smaller range compared to an area that's more inland, and that's going to have a much greater range of temperatures. So places along the East Coast or the West Coast, the Pacific Coast, are going to have temperatures that are in that more narrow range. Prevailing winds. So this goes back to a global studies concept. We talk about easterlies and westerlies in global studies. This also applies in earth science. So these particular winds are predominantly blowing in a particular direction between the equator and 30 degrees north. They're blowing from the northeast. If we're between 30 and 60 where we're located, we have westerlies. They're going from the southwest. So that's going to have an important impact on where our weather is coming from, or predominant weather is going to come from. This is a diagram that's very similar to what's on page 14 in your reference table. Mountain ranges. We kind of mentioned that earlier. What happens as you go up in a mountain range, your temperature decreases. In this particular picture on the bottom, you can see that it gives you what your elevation actually is. If we start at sea level, we're at 30 degrees. As we increase, we can see the decrease in temperature. As we start to decrease or go back down towards sea level, as the air is falling, then our temperature will heat up. And we can see at 1,000 meters, it's 20 on the side where it's ascending or going up. But on the opposite side where it's descending, it's actually 30 degrees. So the temperatures are not the same on both sides of the mountain. Up on top, you have a picture that's very similar from a Regents exam. Prevailing winds. The windward side of the mountain is more wet. The leeward side of a mountain is drier. Sometimes they say it's desert-like in that particular area. Ocean currents. We talked about before, if you're close to a large body of water, that will have an impact on the range of temperatures, but it can also have a warming or cooling effect depending on where the current is coming from. California is cooled because of the cold California current. As you can see, this is from your reference table, where over in Europe, even though England is at a much higher latitude, that's mid-Canada, they have very small amounts of snow, if no snow at all, because of the Gulf current that's predominant, that's bringing over warm moist water, and that is enough to moderate the temperature of those particular climates. Mentioned insolation earlier, and I think we have seen this particular diagram at another time in another packet. Talk about the incoming solar radiation, 100% of it coming in, and then what happens to it. Some of it's reflected by the atmosphere or clouds or the Earth's surface. We have a large amount that's absorbed by the ocean, and then we have a large amount that after it comes in, it's given back off in various forms. So we can see what happens to that energy as it's released again.
Don't forget to listen to the Earth. You just may hear it speak.